In the world of ninjas, the legacy of Naruto lives on through his son, Boruto. But how does the next generation measure up when faced with both personal struggles and new enemies? Stay tuned as we break down Boruto's Academy entrance arc and what makes it a crucial chapter in the Naruto saga. In a distant future, an older Boruto Uzumaki battles Kawaki amidst the ruins of a destroyed Konohagakure. Their heated exchange revolves around the end of the era of shinobi, with Kawaki declaring that it is over. Both activate mysterious, seal-like powers, Boruto's right eye revealing a unique jutsu, before resuming their intense fight. In the present, a young Boruto runs through the bustling streets of Konoha with his friend Shikadai Nara, admiring the modernization of the village. Meanwhile, in the Hokage's office, Naruto Uzumaki laments the pile of paperwork, keeping him from returning home to his family, much to Shikamaru Nara's exasperation. On top of a train, Boruto celebrates purchasing a limited edition chili burger. As he and Shikadai eat, they discuss their lives in the academy, with Shikadai begrudgingly acknowledging their upcoming attendance. When Boruto is spotted atop the train, he leaps off and happens upon Denki Kaminaraman, who is being bullied. Using shadow clones, Boruto drives the bullies away and escapes with Denki. Grateful but worried about retaliation, Denki shares his concerns about his father's expectations. His father, Eo Kaminaraman, a powerful businessman, insists that Denki learn ninjutsu alongside academics to one day inherit the company, attributing his success to skills honed during the Fourth Shinobi War. Boruto encourages Denki to speak openly with his father about his own desires, sharing his own frustrations with his father, Naruto. The two bond over their experiences, but Boruto suddenly realizes he's late for dinner and rushes home, fearing his mother Hinata's scolding. At home, Boruto argues with Hinata over Naruto's frequent absences, feeling neglected by his father's Hokage duties. Meanwhile, Denki confronts his father, who challenges him to prove his strength if he wants to follow his own path. In a dark twist, Denki becomes influenced by a chakra snake, biting him and altering his behavior, setting the stage for the challenges to come. The next day, Boruto is late for the entrance ceremony. Intending to take the train, he spots Denki and perceives a shadow over him. Not noticing his own right eye changing, Denki lures his bullies into an old, malfunctioning train. Denki shows his bullies he put that train on a collision course with another defective train. Having followed Denki, Boruto shows himself and tells Denki to stop, and again perceives the influence on him. Boruto's words loosen the influence on Denki, and when he needs his help in changing the tracks, the influence on Denki is broken, allowing him to help. The two are able to change the tracks, and the bullies hold onto them when they almost fall off the train. They disconnect a wagon with the bullies, allowing them to stop safely. Still wanting to get to the academy, they derail the train and crash it into the Hokage rock. They arrive at the academy during roll call but damage Naruto's stone face. The other students are cleared out while Konohamaru gets Boruto. At the end of the day, Naruto receives word that Boruto took the blame, but Denki's father offers to pay for the damages. After his suspension is up, Boruto heads to the academy and sees Denki, who got into the ninjutsu program, hoping to one day merge ninjutsu with science. Boruto decides against asking Denki about the shadow that had come over him. Looking up at his stone face, he vows to walk his own path in life. The academy was evolving. Shino Abraham explained to his class how the curriculum had changed, blending traditional shinobi training with a broader range of non-ninja subjects to prepare students for a modern world. It was a new era, though not everyone was ready to embrace it. After a 2-week suspension, Boruto Uzumaki returned to the classroom. Through the window, Inojin Yamanaka caught sight of him, his curiosity tempered with skepticism. Inside, the whispers began almost immediately. Boruto paid them no mind, strolling to his seat with practiced indifference. Meanwhile, Chocheo Akimichi and Sumire KK cornered Sarada Ukiya for her opinion on the infamous son of the Hokage. Sarada dismissed him as annoying, but her friends couldn't help but gush about Naruto Uzumaki's legendary status. When Boruto extended a hand of friendship to Inojin, the latter rejected him outright, bluntly labeling him untrustworthy. Sumire stepped in to calm the waters, but tension lingered even as Shino arrived to start the lesson. Later, during a physical assessment to gauge their abilities, Boruto performed well, earning second place. However, the top spot belonged to Iwabi Ueno, who was notably absent. At lunchtime, Boruto attempted to join his classmates, only for them to scatter like leaves in the wind. The cafeteria wasn't any more welcoming as Iwabi confronted him. With disdain dripping from every word, Iwabi accused Boruto of coasting on his father's reputation, condemning the academy for what he saw as its soft, modern approach. It didn't take long for Denki to leap to Boruto's defense, drawing Iwabi's ire. When Iwabi turned his aggression on Denki, Boruto intervened, standing firm to protect his friend. Despite vowing not to engage in a fight, Boruto challenged Iwabi, igniting a clash that quickly drew the attention of the entire class. They abandoned their seats to witness the showdown, leaving Shino baffled to find an empty classroom upon his return. The fight was fierce and evenly matched, with both combatants impressing one another with their skills. Iwabi, frustrated by the state of the academy and his own struggles, abandoned his promise not to use weapons. Summoning a massive earth hammer with his earth release technique, he attempted to end the fight decisively. However, Inojin intervened, using his art-based jutsu to snatch the weapon away and call out Iwabi for breaking his own rule. Realizing his mistake, Iwabi admitted defeat. The fight had brought a new respect between Boruto and Iwabi, and even the class seemed to warm to Boruto. With the students settled, Shino returned, ready to resume the day's lessons. The academy was alive with the sound of clanging metal as Shino Abraham introduced his students to the art of shuriken jutsu. Yet, Much of the class seemed more interested in their own chatter than his instructions. Sumer Kake struggled with the basics, while Inojin Yanaka and Shikade Nara, honed by their parents' rigorous training, breezed through the exercises effortlessly. Metally, ever the perfectionist, started strong. His movements were precise, his aim impeccable, until he noticed the eyes of Inojin and Shikade upon him. Self-consciousness gripped him, and his precision faltered, leaving his earlier confidence in shambles. Meanwhile, Boruto Uzumaki, with his usual flair, hurled a Turmei shuriken at the target. Lee, thinking he could deflect it, failed miserably under the weight of his nerves. The shuriken snagged his foot, dragging him in an ungraceful tumble. The scene quickly unraveled as Shikadai questioned Boruto's use of a weapon they were not yet allowed to handle. Boruto casually admitted he found it in a locker. Aoibi Yuno's locker, to be precise. Shino summoned all those involved to his office, where he handed out their punishment voluntary work, their task. Repair the damage Boruto had done to Naruto's face on the Hokage rock. At the site, the group worked to restore the sculpture, but as the hours dragged on, Lee's anxiety reared its head. His part of the carving remained unfinished, and in his nervous haste, he botched his section, causing even more damage. The day ended with Shikade offering Lee some hard truths. His nerves were his greatest enemy, and sometimes his mistakes affected those around him. At home, Shikade faced his own consequences. Tamari, his mother, delivered a stern scolding for his involvement in the chaos. Shikamaru, however, shrugged it off, seeing trouble as an inevitable part of growing up as a shinobi. The next day brought a new problem. When Shikadai sought out Lee to apologize for his earlier remarks, Boruto's strange right eye revealed something alarming. The same ominous darkness that had consumed Denki now enveloped Lee. Under the darkness influence, Lee lured Shikadai away and attacked him. Boruto and Inojin arrived, just in time to join the chase through the academy halls. Lee was relentless, his attacks fueled by the shadow gripping him. Shikadai quickly devised a plan. Boruto distracted Lee with shadow clones, creating an opening for Shikadai to pin Lee with his shadow imitation technique. Lee, however, broke free, forcing Inojin to step in with his Inkbird jutsu, paralyzing Lee just long enough for Boruto and Shikadai to regroup. The final gambit was a coordinated effort. A second shadow restrained Lee from another angle. This time, not Shikadai's but ink snakes drawn by Inojin. The Shikadai, who appeared to be holding Lee, was revealed to be a disguised Boruto, the real Shikadai waiting in the wings to ensure the plan's success. Lee struggled against his binds but ultimately knocked himself out, breaking the shadow's hold over him. When Lee regained consciousness, he was back to his old self, free from the darkness. Shikadai offered an earnest apology for the harsh words he'd spoken the day before, and the four made their way back to class, a stronger camaraderie forming between them. Later that evening, Boruto's thoughts lingered on his mysterious vision. He questioned his mother Hinata about the Byakugan, curious if it could explain what he'd seen. Exhausted from his duties, Naruto arrived home and headed straight to bed, leaving Boruto with more questions than answers. The following day, Boruto, Shikadai, and Inojin attempted to help Lee relax with a round of video games. Unfortunately, Lee's nerves struck again, and in his excitement, he broke Boruto's console. Some challenges, it seemed, would take more than one lesson to overcome. Shino recruits the help of Konohamaru to teach his academy class about the summoning technique. Konohamaru summons Gamagura, much to the amazement of most of the students except Boruto. When accused of jealousy by Chuchuchuchiyu, Boruto tries and fails to summon a creature since, as Shino explains to him and the class, he has signed no contract with a summoned creature. While they practice summoning sealed weapons instead, the class soon becomes divided as the girls argue with the boys over maturity. While Konohamaru and Shino ponder what to do about the constant outbreaks of infighting, the class almost breaks out into another boys vs girls battle at lunch. Shino intervenes just in time and instead gives the two sides the task of playing capture the flag within the academy while he assesses each one's strengths and weaknesses. Things come to a head as both teams make their way to the rooftop. Boruto, who has stolen a scroll from the academy, once again attempts the summoning technique, intending to summon a small toad to scare the girls. Instead, an unknown creature appears and strikes at Chiyocho, throwing her off the building. Boruto, Inojin, and Shikade are able to catch her, but the beast sets its sights on them while they helplessly dangle from the roof. Konohamaru arrives in time to defeat the beast with his Rasengan, and Sumer silently steals the flag, winning the match for the girls. Later, Boruto apologizes for putting Chiyocho's life in danger, prompting the girls to put a rain check on collecting their favor. While they prepare to head home, Shino advises them that they first needed to clean up the now crumbling academy building, while Konohamaru wonders how Boruto was able to pull off summon such a large creature in the first place. While all this is taking place, a mysterious newcomer looms over them all. The academy was unusually lively that morning, with the sounds of combat and chaos spilling through the halls. A disgruntled expelled student, fueled by revenge, launched a sudden attack. To Boruto Uzumaki, the eerie dark aura surrounding the assailant was all too familiar, a sinister presence he had seen before. As the confrontation escalated, Aoibi Yuno stepped in, shielding Boruto from a critical blow and creating an opening for Boruto to strike back. Outnumbered and desperate, the rogue student kicked up a cloud of dust, using it as cover to make his escape. Without hesitation, Boruto gave chase. His pursuit led him to an unexpected scene. Mysterious young man standing over the unconscious attacker. With an air of confidence, the stranger observed aloud how rowdy Konoha had become before disappearing, leaving Boruto with more questions than answers. The next day brought surprises of its own as Shino Abarame introduced last to their newest member, Mitsuki, a transfer student from Odagakure. The classroom buzzed with curiosity. The boys speculated about Mitsuki's combat skills, while the girls whispered about his striking appearance. Ever the peacemaker, Sumer Kakai urged everyone to quiet down and pay attention. Mitsuki wasted no time integrating himself, choosing to sit beside Boruto and initiating a conversation. In class, Boruto's unconventional approach to solving problems impressed some but irked Shino, who challenged him to tackle something far more advanced. Boruto's cocky dismissal of the challenge prompted Mitsuki to step in and solve it effortlessly, earning admiration from the rest of the students. Sparring practice took a tense turn when Boruto and Aobi faced off, with Aobi emerging victorious. Mitsuki then requested a match with Aobi. As their bout intensified, Mitsuki's calm demeanor gave way to something more dangerous. He began choking Aobi, ignoring Shino's commands to stop. Boruto intervened, snapping Mitsuki out of his trance and scolding him for taking things too far. Mitsuki offered an apology, though the Unis lingered. That evening, Shino sought solace with Kurenai Sarutobi, confiding in her about his struggles as a teacher. Her advice was simple yet heartfelt: find your own way forward. Meanwhile, Mitsuki communicated with a mysterious figure via a white snake, hinting at deeper motives. The following day, Shino threw a welcome party for Mitsuki. While the effort was appreciated by Sumer, Shino's past struggles with social connection became evident when his insects spiraled out of control, disrupting the event. Denki Kaminaraman suggested clearing the insects, and Mitsuki obliged, using wind release to scatter them. However, the force of his jutsu caused even more damage to the already fragile academy, leaving the students unimpressed. Shino overheard their critical remarks and fell into a quiet, brooding frustration. Meanwhile, chaos erupted as a repairman under the influence of the same dark specter began rampaging through the academy, further worsening the destruction. Boruto's ability to see the dark aura piqued Mitsuki's interest, while Shikadai Nara speculated that Mitsuki himself might be linked to these strange occurrences. As the chaos unfolded, Sarada Uka distracted the possessed repairman, allowing Shikadai to pin him with his shadow jutsu. Ibi moved in to strike, but the repairman's strength overwhelmed them. Boruto tackled the attacker, sending them both tumbling over a balcony. Mitsuki acted swiftly, cushioning their fall with wind release, allowing the dark specter to dissipate. Boruto, shaken but unharmed, thanked Mitsuki for saving him. Later that evening, Shino's growing frustration with his students' lack of respect reached a breaking point. The dark specter seized the opportunity, taking hold of him. The next day, Shino called Boruto, Shikadai, and Mitsuki for a special extracurricular lesson. As the trio pondered why they had been singled out, Mitsuki noticed something amiss. When Shino arrived, his demeanor was cold, his intentions ominous. Boruto greeted him casually but was met with a chilling declaration: "Today, I will teach you your final lesson." Boruto finds Shino to be odd. Shikadai scolds Boruto and apologizes for whatever they did to get out of trouble. Still angry, Shino sicks his insects on them. Mitsuki is impressed when the insects block his kunai with webs. Boruto sees the shadow specter possessing Shino. Shino's insects begin devouring the surroundings. Shikadai tries to pin them with his shadow, but there are too many, and some begin overtaking Boruto and draining his chakra. Mitsuki blows them away with his wind release and stretches his arms to retrieve Boruto. They flee using a smoke bomb to cover their escape. Hidden, the three discuss their options, Shikadai noting Shino's skill and killing intent. Boruto suggests getting help from another teacher, but Mitsuki points out the insects have spread throughout the forest and will find them before they're able to leave. Shikadai asks Boruto about the shadow only he can see, getting Mitsuki's attention. At the academy, Iruka wonders about Shino, and Anko tells him not to worry about him. Shino catches up with Boruto and Shikadai, who try using an exploding tag to deal with the insects to no avail. Mitsuki watches from afar. As they escape again, Shikadai notices the insects avoid water when he runs through a stream. Mitsuki regroups with them, claiming to have gotten lost. He asks Boruto about other people who went berserk after being possessed by the shadow only he can see. Shikadai grows suspicious of Mitsuki. Mitsuki suggests they kill Shino as he wants to do the same to them. Shikadai points out Shino's been unconcerned with using chakra, saying them can use that to their advantage, but it'll require someone being bait. Shikadai wants it to be Mitsuki since he doesn't trust him and to expose other abilities he might have. Boruto wants to make up for driving Shino to snap in the first place, and argues that he can still create shadow clones despite having had his chakra drained earlier. Boruto tries to get to Shino with Shadow's clones and makes use of the webs to place an exploding tag near him. Shino manages to avoid them all of his attacks and immobilizes Boruto and Shikadai. Shino tells them he realized their plan to get him on water to get rid of his insects and notices Mitsuki in the distance. When Shikadai points out he's used most of his insects and Mitsuki extends his arms underwater, dragging Shino down. Shino releases aquatic insects and Mitsuki employs lightning release to stop them, forcing the shadow specter out of Shino. Mitsuki puts Shino on land but begins drowning, having used too much chakra. Boruto dives after Mitsuki, but he begins drowning as well. Despite having depleted most of his chakra, Shino dives in after the two and manages to get them out by summoning a giant insect. Later, Shino apologizes for attacking them, and the students apologize for ridiculing him. Acknowledging his strength, Shino reports the incident to Naruto. He and Shikamaru both agree that the matter needs to be investigated and ask Shino to help them. Boruto eats with Shikadai and sketches what the possessing specter looked like to him. The two speculate why it's possessing people, its purpose, and why only Boruto can see it. Sarada complains about the boys to Chidochu and Sumer, but the conversation is cut short when Sumer gets a feeling that someone is spying on them. The three share their concerns with the other girls. The boys overhear them, but don't think it's related to the Shadow Spectre. The girls take an alley after Chede buys chips and manage to capture their stalker. The boys hear screaming and rush there. Chido-cho recognizes their stalker as Majir Kakurmino from another class. Shikadai checks with Boruto if he's possessed, and Boruto confirms he's not. They question why he's following Chido-cho, but he reveals it's Sumer he's following, having a crush on her. Chicheche encourages Magir to confess his feelings to Sumer. He does, but Sumer rejects him, and he leaves hurt. During class, someone leaves a message to Sumer in the blackboard. Mitsuki asks around and finds out Magir didn't go to class that day. Several notes for Sumer fall over the group, prompting them to watch over her. The boys and girls are separated by a metal wall in the academy. The girls hide in a storage room, but someone knocks over smoke bombs. Sumer opens the door to clear the smoke and gets separated from Chachocho and Sarada. Denki arrives, asking if she's okay, and gets knocked out by Magir. The boys reach them, and all of them get to Sumer and Magir on the roof. Boruto notices the shadow possessing Magir. Magir disguises himself and starts attacking. Cho admonishes his way of getting attention from Sumer and tells him to better himself. She offers him chips. As he accepts them, the shadow leaves Magir, who breaks down crying. Magir gets gaunt faints. The boys talk over food, speculating Magir got weaker due to chakra exhaustion. Shikamaru delivers Naruto a report suggesting the same. At night, Mitsuki communicates with someone about Boruto's findings. Under the pale glow of the moon, a shadowy figure sat in quiet contemplation, gazing up at the infinite tapestry of stars. A particular constellation caught its attention, its alignment whispering a prophecy of an impending harvest. Far below, on Earth, Boruto Uzumaki, Denki Kaminarimon, Shikadai Nara, and Iwabi Yuno immersed themselves in the world of cinema, captivated by the thrilling exploits of Kajimasa. As the credits rolled, their excitement spilled into dinner discussions, where the boys debated the romanticized portrayal of shinobi life against its harsher reality. Aboard the rattling train, Boruto and Shikadai quietly speculated about the mysterious dark specter that only Boruto could see. Shikadai's logic clashed with Boruto's unease, leaving them with more questions than answers. At home, Boruto set to work, conjuring shadow clones to piece together the puzzle of the strange incidents haunting the village. Though doubt lingered, Boruto remained resolute. He wouldn't involve Naruto in this, not yet. Later, over a casual meal, Boruto ran into Shikadai. As they exchanged thoughts, Shikadai floated an intriguing theory: could Boruto be awakening the Byakugan? Their conversation was interrupted by Mitsuki, whose sudden appearance startled them both. Mitsuki, as enigmatic as ever, concurred with Shikadai's suggestion, urging Boruto to delve deeper into the possibility. That night, sleep brought Boruto an unsettling vision. In a hazy dreamscape, the same shadowy figure from the moon gazed down at him, cryptically declaring that Boruto's eye held great importance, a harbinger of an incredible destiny. Boruto awoke, the dream vivid in his mind. Gazing into the mirror, he caught a fleeting glimpse of his eye, shimmering with unfamiliar energy. Excitement overtook him. This was the confirmation he sought. Meanwhile, at the Hokage's office, Shikamaru Nara handed Naruto Uzumaki a troubling report detailing the chain of strange events. Both men noted Boruto's proximity to each incident, debating whether he was merely a witness or perhaps the intended target. Wary and concerned, Naruto returned home, only to be met with Boruto's bold declaration he had awakened the Byakugan. The family gathered, skepticism hanging heavy in the air. Boruto's insistence bordered on frustration as his claims were met with doubt. His mother, Hinata Hayarge, intervened gently, suggesting he consult his grandfather, Hashi Hayarge, who would know the truth. The news traveled fast among Boruto's peers. Shikadai, Denki, and Mitsuki weighed the possibility, intrigued by the implications of Boruto wielding such a powerful Kekgenkai. Later, Naruto, Boruto, and Himawari Uzumaki arrived at the Hayarge compound, where they were warmly greeted by Hayashi and Hanabi Hayarge. Boruto's curiosity brimmed as Hayashi began explaining the Bakugan, emphasizing the years of training needed to master its abilities, reaffirming Naruto's earlier words. Hayashi, ever the proud clan leader, wanted more than words. With a knowing smile, he invited Boruto to the courtyard. "Let's find out for sure," he said, his tone firm but welcoming. "Show me if the Byakugan truly resides within you." The tension thickened as the courtyard prepared to bear witness to the clash of generations. Hayashi explains to Boruto that if he has awakened the Byakugan, it will manifest itself in battle, even if Boruto can't activate it at will. Something both he and Hanabi will be able to tell. Hanabi decides to take her father's place, sure it will be all for nothing if he simply throws his back out in the fight. Boruto is up for it. Himawari asks Naruto if Boruto will be okay as they watch him and Hanabi sparring. Naruto assures her Boruto will be okay. Boruto tries making a distraction using shadow clones and a flash bomb, but Hanabi sees through it. Boruto goes at it once more, this time managing to surround Hanabi with his shadow clones, but she repels them with 8 trigrams palms revolving Heaven. Hanabi tells Boruto there is no sign of the Byakugan having awakened in him, but assures him it's still possible it will. Boruto tries disguising his disappointment. Hayashi invites them to spend the night. During dinner, Hanabi plays with Boruto and Himawari, Hayashi telling Naruto not to mind them, as it's a special day. By themselves, Naruto and Hayashi discuss Boruto. Naruto isn't disappointed in Boruto for not awakening the Byakugan, happy that despite it not happening, Boruto tried so hard to prove it did. Hayashi asks about Himawari, Naruto telling him she hasn't manifested the Byakugan since it first awakened. Hayashi asks Naruto to keep him updated and to bring her again if anything else happens. Hanabi talks to Boruto, sure something has happened, otherwise he wouldn't have claimed to have awakened the Byakugan, nor sparred so seriously to prove it. Boruto bumps into Sarada at night and the two briefly discuss Kajimasa from the movies. Boruto catches a glimpse of someone possessed by the Spectre and follows him to the academy. He recognizes him as the actor who plays Kajimasa, who has put on some weight. He attacks Boruto over his comments on his physique. When he has Boruto pinned down, Sarada deflects one of his attacks. Hidden, Boruto explains the act possessed by a shadow only he can see. Boruto and Sarada defeat the actor using lines from the movie in diversion with Boruto transformed into Fyuma Shuriken. Boruto watches the shadow dissipate. The next day, Boruto updates Mitsuki and Shikadai on his eye, saying he doesn't care if it's not the Byakugan, and he just has to prove he has it. The hustle and bustle of Konoha's streets filled the air as Boruto Uzumaki, accompanied by Shikadai Nara and Mitsuki, scanned the crowd with determination. His bright blue eyes darted among the villagers, trying to will his mysterious eye to activate once more. Shikadai's steady voice broke Boruto's concentration. Strange how these incidents only seem to happen around the academy, he mused. Boruto nodded, frustration itched on his face. That's why we've got to figure this out. I'm not letting Dad beat me to the punch. Mitsuki chimed in with his usual cryptic calmness. The clock is ticking, Boruto. The trio spent the rest of the day combing through the village, but the mystery remained unsolved. Undeterred, they vowed to press on that night. Back at home, Boruto faced a less forgiving audience. Haneda Uzumaki. Your teacher called, she said sternly, arms crossed. Why are you skipping classes? Boruto fumbled for an explanation but quickly doubled down. I have an important duty, Mom. You wouldn't understand. Hinata's expression softened into concern. Is this about trying to get your father's attention? The accusation stung, but Boruto turned away, unwilling to admit any truth to it. The next day at the academy, Shino Aburame introduced a new practical lesson workplace experience. For Boruto, Shikadai and Mitsuki, it was the perfect cover to continue their investigation. They were assigned to assist Teori, a postal worker who led them on a whirlwind tour of the village, delivering and collecting parcels. Amid their rounds, Boruto spotted Naruto Uzumaki opening a ceremony of a new facility. The Hokage's eyes met his son's, and for a brief moment, time seemed to stand still. Naruto approached Boruto, exchanging a few words about their respective tasks. The encounter was brief but loaded with unspoken tension. After Naruto departed, Boruto's resolve hardened. Let's split up and finish these deliveries faster, he declared. Regrouping later, Mitsuki delivered unexpected news. There's been an incident at Senju Park. They rushed to the scene, arriving to find Sai meticulously documenting evidence while collecting witness statements. By the time Boruto and his friends arrived, the site had been processed and cordoned off. Sai reported to Naruto and Shikamaru Nara, revealing a chilling discovery. Traces of wood release at the scene, indicating someone was experimenting with Hashirama Senju's cells. Root records might have answers, Sai suggested gravely, noting the potential involvement of former Root members. Shikamaru agreed and they left to begin the search. Naruto, his mind weighed down by the implications, returned home briefly. There he confided in Hinata. I saw Boruto today, he admitted. It's hard to know what to say to him. Growing up without a father. I just don't know how to be one. Hinata placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder, offering silent support. Meanwhile, Boruto and his friends faced another obstacle. Complaints had poured into the post office regarding missed deliveries, leading Teori's superior, Komae, to reassign them to inventory duties while Teori fixed their earlier mistakes. As they worked, a news report flashed on a nearby television screen, announcing yet another incident, this time at the water purification plant, where their classmates had been assigned for their workplace experience. Without hesitation, Boruto, Shikadai, and Mitsuki dropped their tasks and sprinted toward the new site, hearts pounding with urgency. The academy students visit Sumire at the hospital. Wasabi and Namida thank her for saving them, but Sumire credits the Hokage for being nearby. Shino feels guilty as a work experience classes were his idea, though Chiyodocho just tell him to learn from it. Aoibi points out the frequency of the attacks, Denki and Lee sharing their experience on how it felt. Boruto arrives and apologizes profusely to Sumire, feeling responsible for the situation. Shikadai tries talking to Boruto, who insists that if had delivered the mail properly, they would have had the entire day to patrol, and might have seen something at the water purification plant. Naruto arrives, and when Boruto asks him to loop him in on the investigation, Naruto drags him to another room, showing Sumire's attacker nearly drained of all chakra. They discuss what Boruto should or shouldn't do. Shino claims responsibility for the workplace experience classes, suggesting that if treated as an adult, Boruto might be able to show them something they can't see, and that as Boruto's teacher, he knows what he can and can't do. Naruto leaves the decision with Shino. Shino doesn't give them a free pass, but as they have saved him before, he has respect for them. Boruto, Mitsuki, and Shikadai go back to the post office, and are surprised when Komae tells them to deliver mail. Teori intervened on their behalf. When looking at delivery routes, Boruto considers having shadow clones take all of them, but his own clones think it would put too much distance between them. The three deliver mail through the village. Sumire bids Wasabi and Namida goodbye, and watches from the window as they leave with their parents. Mitsuki arrives with information on the latest attack. At the scene, Sei finds more trace evidence of wood release use. Sei wants to investigate possible root involvement as soon as he can to make sure that if root is involved, whoever is behind it doesn't follow the same ideology as he once did. After they miss another attack, Boruto considers the possibility the ghost knows their route. To cover all the male routes at once, Shikadai asked the help of their classmates, and to notify them if anyone finds an incident, he had a weebie bring fireworks from his workplace experience. After they leave, Kamame just misses someone at the post office, is possessed by the ghost, and begins wrecking the post office. Boruto and the others arrive, having successfully tricked them into believing all the routes would be watched, leaving the office unattended. Boruto prepares to fight Kamame, while Mitsuki, Inajin, Chochuju, and Lee chase the one controlling the ghost. Kamame uses the male to attack Boruto and Shikadai from a distance, which Aoebi blocks with Earth Release. Teori protects one of the parcels from Kamame's attack, and his dedication to it weakens the ghost's hold on Kamame, allowing Boruto and Aoebi to knock him out. The ghost leaves Kamame, and Boruto throws an explosive tag at it as it disappears. The masked men controlling the ghost loses the others. Mitsuki finds him, but the two don't attack each other, and Mitsuki lets him leave. Kamame is taken away, and Boruto leads the others in reorganizing the post office. Something comments on the chakra being stolen being used to awaken new. At night, Mitsuki discusses the incidents with someone through a white snake, mentioning a root heirloom and a possible user. Mitsuki recalls waking up in a tank. The academy teachers have their students run an obstacle course in groups of 3. Boruto and Mitsuki help Denki when he struggles midway at the cost of using up their time. Shino fails all students, because the few who complete the course did so by leaving their teammates behind. Konohamaru and Moji tell the students they'll occasionally drop by for the purposes of seeing who might be under their command, and encourage them to see which formations work better. The boys discuss the recent lack of ghost incidents, and whether they should continue investigating now that they know the adults are also looking into it. Mitsuki asks Shikadai why he helped Denki, and Shikadai suggests Boruto got into him. Shino discusses the students with Moji and Konohamaru. Moji expresses interest in Aoebi and Boruto. Mitsuki notices Boruto helping Aoebi with arithmetic problems. Mitsuki asks him if he feels more included because of Boruto. After class, Inajin notes to Mitsuki he's been paying a lot of attention to Boruto. Inajin explains the lengths Boruto goes to not to be seen just as the Hokage's son. Mitsuki visits Sumire alone. He asks her how she feels about Boruto, and she echoes Inojin's sentiment of finding him fun. She asks if Mitsuki has any family. Sumire explains all of her family is dead, that her panicked behavior stems from not being as skilled as her father was, but that she grew to find class funny. Mitsuki questions her feelings about whoever injured her, and she just wants it to be over. Boruto has Mitsuki come over to his home for dinner. In Boruto's bedroom, Mitsuki questions the exact nature of how Boruto feels about Naruto, but Hinata calls them to dinner before he can answer. Naruto and Mitsuki are introduced to one another. At the Hokage's office, Shikamaru informs Naruto's clone that a chakra signature linked to the incidents has been detected, and that Sai has been dispatched to investigate. Naruto's clone disperses, and Naruto leaves dinner, causing Boruto to storm out. Naruto and Mitsuki exchange words. Boruto resents Naruto because, ever since becoming Hokage, he feels Naruto has neglected his family. Boruto explains that he is determined to never abandon those closest to him as he perceives Naruto have done, doing something he couldn't do. This sparks a memory in Mitsuki, hearing his parents say something similar. Understanding Boruto better, Mitsuki confesses he knows who is behind the ghost incident. Sai investigates the hideout of Tanuki Shigaraki, a missing former root researcher who was an avid follower of Dan's Dooley, and in charge of developing a weapon based on Hashirama's cell's code named Gozu Tendu. Despite not finding him, Sei finds a picture of him with a little girl and realizes who the culprit is. Mitsuki reveals to Boruto that Sumire is the one behind the incidents. Shikamaru informs Naruto on Sai's discovery and current search for Sumire. He also informs Naruto complaints are being filed that the attacks continue to happen because the police force performed insufficient vetting of those involved. Kakashi arrives at the Hokage's office, claiming responsibility for himself and Tsunade, having both decided not to expose the identities of everyone involved with Root. Despite Mitsuki's explanation of Sumire having interacted with each victim, Boruto is not convinced of her guilt. As Mitsuki explains the goal of the attacks was to absorb chakra from its victims, a rumble comes from Senju Park, Narumaru, and Kakashi discuss how to proceed and how things would have happened if they had acted differently. Kakashi tells his investigation lead to the discovery that the Gozu Ten has been embedded into Sumire's body. As Sai and company track Sumire down, he resolves not to let this incident be blamed on people with ties to Root. Knowing she has been discovered, Sumire thinks back to her father's words of getting revenge for Dan's due and prepares to launch her last attack. Before she can, Sai apprehends her at the park, but she summons Nu before he can restrain her. As Boruto and Mitsuki spot the Nu from afar, Boruto decides to hear the truth from Sumire herself. After he leaves, Mitsuki is contacted through the White Snake, and is tasked with eliminating Sumire. Kakashi arrives and severs a portion of Nu's snake tail. Sai distracts Nu with an ink bird, allowing Kakashi and other shinobi to raise walls around it. From its severed tail, several others sprout, chasing the Konoha shinobi, draining the chakra of those it can catch. Mitsuki tells Boruto that Nu will drain everyone in the village, and will only stop if the jutsu user dies. Boruto is determined to save both the village and Sumire. Mitsuki acknowledges that's an answer he would never give, and expresses interest in learning more about their differences. Mitsuki covertly creates a snake clone to restrain Boruto, and leaves to kill Sumire. Boruto manages to create a clone himself and knocks out Mitsuki's clone. Boruto's eye activates, allowing him to track Sumire through a chakra trail. The shinobi further limit Nu's movements with a barrier and wires. Naruto arrives intending to finish Nu in one blow, but Kakashi warns him it'll just absorb Naruto's chakra and possibly detonate, as Nu was designed to be a suicide strategy. Mitsuki tracks Sumire, having put a white snake on her at the hospital. Though he manages to pin Sumire, Boruto's arrival lets her get out of Mitsuki's hold before he can end her. Sumire admits to being the culprit, having lived solely to carry out her father's revenge. Boruto stops Sumire and Mitsuki when they attack each other, and his eye lets off sparks. Nu transports itself out of the barrier to Sumire and absorbs her to take her chakra. As it vanishes, Boruto jumps after it. Kashi determines Nu isn't summoned like other animals. Naruto tries sensing it with Sage Mode to no avail. Naruto Sai and Kagashika's finding the Jutsu caster, who must be in another dimension as well. Denki, Shikadai, and Enojin look for Boruto. Shikadai notices something strange in the sky. In Nu's home dimension, Boruto follows a strand of dark chakra to a tree stump where Nu attacks him. Boruto strikes back, managing to stab Nu in the face. Boruto can suddenly see Nu's chakra network, a spot at the base of its tail standing out. Nu attacks while Boruto is confused by what he sees, but Mitsuki saves him and tells him Nu is attacking on Sumire's orders. Boruto has Mitsuki stall Nu and prepares many explosive tag kone. He stabs Nu at the base of its tail and sets up the explosive tags, causing thick ropes above to fall on Nu. Mitsuki strikes the down Nu with lightning release, but Sumire blocks it with her water release. Boruto and Mitsuki ask her if there's any chance she'll back down willingly. Sumire is baffled at them and explains that despite her father serving the village, after the war he was deemed a criminal for being involved with Root. All the fear and anxiety of living hiding made her mother die of illness. Sumire exchanges attacks with Mitsuki. Boruto puts himself between them, telling to stop, and is injured. He is unconvinced that Sumire truly faked all her concern for her classmates since meeting her. Mitsuki is surprised by Boruto and adds Sumire did mention wanting to end things quickly while in the hospital. Boruto sees the dark chakra's hold on her dissipating. Boruto deduces the reason why the ghost affected those who were troubled was because Sumire herself was troubled, making it easier to infect like-minded people. Sumire orders Nu to extract what's left of her chakra and blow itself up. Nu simply nudges her gently, Boruto concluding that despite being raised by Sumire to be a weapon, it sees her as its parent. Boruto tells her she doesn't have to use Nu as a weapon like her father used her. The Gozu 10-00 on her back shatters, causing accumulated chakra to become unstable, and the place starts to cave in. The three rush to leave, and Nu protects them from the unstable chakra. Boruto manages to see where a rift is, and the three escape the dimension. Sai arrives with Konoha Shinobi. He sympathizes with Sumire and offers to help her. She accepts. Boruto sees there is still a connection between her and Nu. The five of them jump on the coming train as they're late for academy. Under a tranquil sky, Boruto reflects on the quiet weeks since the ghost incidents ended, his thoughts lingering on why his mysterious eye has ceased to activate. The village hums with life, basking in its regained normalcy. As Naruto, Sai, and Shikamaru stroll through the streets, they share relief over the calm, while Sai quietly recounts the critical role the academy students played in thwarting Sumire. Shikamaru, ever the pragmatist, muses on the challenges of letting Sumire remain at the academy, her past actions a potential cause for concern. In the classroom, Shino announces plans to assemble the students into provisional three-person teams, testing their compatibility for life after graduation. Sarada questions Sumire's prolonged absence, her curiosity shared but unspoken by others meanwhile. Mitsuki is resolute in his desire to partner with Boruto again, though their duo lacks a third member. Ibi Denki have already formed a team, as have Shikadai, Cha-Cha, Dadu, and Inojin. Iwabi attempts to recruit Sarada while Boruto considers Lee as a potential partner. Mitsuki, however, quietly expresses a wish for Sumire to join their team, prompting Boruto to hush him. Her involvement in the ghost incidents remains a secret. Elsewhere, Shino consults Iruka about Sumire's future, vowing to personally guide her if she returns. At home, Boruto is taken aback to find Naruto home earlier than usual. Over dinner, they discuss Sumire's situation, their conversation heavy with unspoken emotions. Shino later visits Sumire, offering her a chance to rebuild her path, even suggesting a location outside the village where she could reflect and grow. At the same time, Inojin shares a startling discovery with Shikadai and Denki. His father's access to files on other villages' academies suggests Sumire might be transferred. Back at the academy, Shino organizes another flag-catching exercise. With Mitsuki's assistance, Boruto manages to secure the flag, a small victory amidst lingering uncertainty. Moments later, the classroom door opens and Sumire steps in, her return met with a wave of surprise and relief from her classmates. Overwhelmed by their acceptance, she is moved to tears. Meanwhile, far from the village, Naruto sends a shadow clone to deliver a scroll to Sasuke, detailing new findings about the Gozu Tendu. Sasuke, linking its origins to Kaguya, sees it as a clue to accessing her dimension. When Naruto invites him back to the village, Sasuke declines, asking only for an apology to be relayed to Sakura before disappearing into the wilderness. Beyond the mortal plane, Toneri peers into the cosmos, his gaze filled with foreboding as he prophesies the arrival of gods. On another world, Kinshiki reports to Momoshiki, warning of abnormalities in Kaya's domain. With a sinister grin, Momoshiki resolves to begin preparations, their actions heralding a storm that will soon engulf the shinobi world. That wraps up the Academy Entrance arc of Boruto. full of challenges, revelations, and plenty of action. Want more breakdowns and theories? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss an update. See you in the next one!